listening to Radio D Hotties, powered by Mahima Creations.
Hi, this is Akshay Kumar and you are listening to me on Radio D Hotties with Altu Baba and Paltu Rani, where entertainment keeps getting hotter.
Radio D Hotties, the best and hottest Indian radio network in the entire world.
Mahima Creations
Proudly presents Premier Evening Drive Time Show. Bam Bam!
Yes, you heard it right.
Bam Bam! Every
Monday,
Tuesday,
Wednesday,
Thursday,
Friday. Let's beat the traffic.
Bam Bam!
नमस्कार.
नमस्ते.
नमस्कार.
वणक्कम.
खुश आमदीद.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
सत श्री अकाल.
एक अंदर की बंदर में
जय स्वामीनारायण.
जय श्री कृष्ण.
जय जरीद्रा.
हमारे इस्लामी भाई बंधुओं को बोल दे या अली मदद.
मोलाली मदद बोलते सारे फीजी मदद बोले इन्हीं सब लबरजन हम आ गए हैं आपके प्यारे महिमा के द्वारा मैं सिर्फ फालतू बाबा
And of course myself Faltu Rani लेकर आपके लिए एक और ड्राइव टाइम that's going to make it totally exciting and totally मस्तानी बंद जान है.
that's definitely. Of course आज हम लोग we're continuing with our saga of the mystical Mondays. हाँ we had talked about some time ago last year, right? Last year बात किया था हमने. And actually speaking Manjan, if you notice last year हम जब बात किए थे इस बारे में about the mystical Mondays, suddenly we had a surge of our Indian cinema folk, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly talking about, oh wow, this is a concept of our thing, and then they started making these things. Now there's a new verse coming up, Faltoni. You'll be very proud of this actually. In fact, I should say you should be very proud of it.
Why?
Because this is where we're going to be talking, we're going to see a new wave of creativity in the Indian cinema.
Wow.
Because actually it already was there. We know, while we were growing up at least, right, our parents introduced to something like Panchatantra and all those things. I remember comics, which is like books, they were literally nice about story, right?
Right.
There also was a comic called Amar Chitra Katha, right? But people actually, the liberal or the so-called, the crowd which was educated minority considering themselves to be liberal, but actually they're not. Started calling that as a kind of a fundamental kind of a group, right? And they made it seem like, it's a religious thing. No, don't go all those things. But actually, those were actually stories.
Right.
Talking about all the Upanishads, the small things which used to happen, shared by the Gurukuls and everything, right?
Right.
So now, this is what we're trying to bring back right now. Mystical Mondays, the idea is to make sure we can bring back those particular moments where we can actually share with you some of those wonderful things about our culture, right?
Correct.
Which we're proud of. Now, and again, no, our culture is not religion. People, please misunderstand this thing. It is mystical, yes, right? But the point is, it is not religious, but it is more of kind of ballads, or should we say parables, right? And take it that way, because these are stories, and there's now scientific research as archaeological findings are connecting it back to what the fact it really happened.
Correct.
So many years ago, right? So आज हम लोग mystical Mondays में we talked about concept, we talked about many things, right? Mystical Mondays में we talk about paranormal, normal, abnormal, whatever is there, right?
Correct.
So this is the paranormal phenomenon. And connected with the fact that it's also metaphysical as well. So it's like, we're talking about a concept where it is beyond just physicality of it. And it is not, and of course, not tying it down to the concept of, dogma, right? Oh, somebody said that's why it's got way, right? No, it's about us doing research on it and learning about it, analyzing, critical analysis of it and everything, right?
Right.
Because there's always been a concept in Indian culture about Eternals. And now, when a Hollywood industry brings the concept of Eternals, you go, wow, my God, how scientifically thought out, right? Makes logical sense.
Well, actually, I have a feeling that they have derived the, of course, everybody is chasing immortality, right? That's the eventual, a lot of people chase immortality. How can we beat death? The whole idea how science evolved was to beat death, to extend for the longevity.
Yeah, and of course, Banja, I've told you multiple times, me and Faltoni are students of folklore.
Yeah.
Right? We love folklore. We love folklore because of the fact that we grew up listening to folklore.
Yeah.
We are from a culture which has rich folklore, right? And if you look at it, all the folklore have like how she said, the archetypes, right? we love the cinema because cinema to us, I don't know about Faltu, I will definitely share this. Cinema in a way is our way of a folklore.
Yeah.
जो एक ज़माने में I'm talking about almost like hundreds of thousands of years ago. What used to happen on a campfire after everybody's eaten everything? This used to be communal eating now, right?
Right.
This to come together. This to actually have these kathas being told by people, right?
Right.
That used to be like that went on in the modern world. It became drama. Western world called it theater. They put in all those things about the people wearing a mask and everything, right? They used to have people come under one roof and they used to do all those things.
Correct.
That was not. We used to have Bidi Natka, or we used to have street plays.
Yeah.
And that went transformed into theatre in India also. India started following the Western world because thanks to Britishers. But we always had that. We always have this thing which goes on. There are cultural dance forms. Bharatanatyam, for instance, was one way of trying to appease to the masses or send a message to the masses about the concepts, about the stories, like the fantastic stories, which we think is fantastic, but actually it's something to happen some time ago, right? So, ye jo hai Mystical Mondays, actually, I want to bring it back again because we have two more people, mystics we want to talk about, or two more concepts of individuals who are considered to be Chiranjeevis.
Which means who have transcended the dimension of time and who have also transcended physicality. Yani ki there's no concept of death. They continue to exist and for reasons best known to them. In fact, jo bhi humne cover kiye hain over the past year, right, of the Ashta Chiranjeevis or the 8 Chiranjeevis that we've talked about, from Vedavyasa to Ashwathama to Kripacharya to even more recently Hanuman.
Recently we talked about Hanuman.
yeah. So all of these Chiranjeevis or these beings, we wouldn't call them human beings because we would say all of these beings seem to have speak of certain exceptional qualities due to which they became Chiranjeevis. Some became Chiranjeevis to be able to bear the burden of the gruesome acts that they committed during their lifetime, which means the amount of misery that they extended upon somebody was the amount of misery that they needed to endure to finally get redemption so that they understand so that the world, they serve as an example to the world. Some of them for their valor and their dedication and commitment. Some of them for their incredible righteousness, right? To be able to follow the path of virtue and dharma is what some people say is the reason that they got immortality. So each of them depict a particular trait. जो एक क्वालिटी जो जैसे हम लोग भी बोलते हैं, आज भी बोलते हैं, जैसे डेवलपमेंटली ओरिएंटेड लाइफ कैसे जीते हो तुम, कि कंपैशनेट रहो, करेक्ट, औरों को मतलब और मत मानो, अपने आप के साथ मानो टाइप्स, राइट? एंड देन यू आल्सो हैव लाइक how to be grateful for everything that you have, count your blessings, and all these things, they stem from somewhere. Where is it coming from? And if you actually drill down and you go back and see, it is from Eastern philosophy. Correct. Gratitude, humility, jo bhi hai, right? Yeah, so
that's true. And of course, we talked about, of all the Chiranjeevis we talked about, let's talk about a few of them. We talked about the first person who we should credit to, Vyasa, right? And Vyasa is considered to be the knowledge person, right? And then we had Ashwathama.
Correct.
We talked about the negative elements. So Faltu talked 2 minutes ago about the fact that how sometimes the boon or the gift or the concept of immortality can also be a bane on some people, right? We talked about Kripacharya, right? The preceptor of Pandavas and Kauravas. That in other words, he is timeless and abound. And we in that particular show we talked about the fact that how some things are concepts which can live on without the physical presence of that.
Correct.
Right? Correct. So people live on. For instance, I'll give a modern reference to Fadani. The great voices, Mahimaji always talk about that. Even now, for the matter, Mahimaji is still living in this realm because we are talking about her. Correct?
Correct.
Similarly, when you talk about Kishore Kumar, Rafi Saab, all those people, you can never see the leftist realm. They are here because why? We are remembering them every instance. Right, all the
We
songs
keep
you
them
play,
alive, yes.
we keep them alive. Similarly, the concept of Kripacharya also, where he's epitome of wisdom and impartiality, and he is so all the Chiranjeevis actually come together at the time of they culminate to help Kalki.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the avatar of the supreme, so-called believed to be Vishnu, when he comes in the form of Kalki to eradicate Kali, right? And that's the end of Kali Yuga, right? They all these come together. In other words, he requires help from all the concept is this. He requires help from all the Chiranjeevis to defeat Kali.
Oh, wow.
Like how Rama was there. Rama was helped
Oh,
by
I'm
who?
getting wrongte bad.
No,
Seriously.
don't tell me
like,
it's because of my voice. Is that
no,
why?
no, I'm like,
Oh my God.
I imagine a movie in the making.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm doing.
each of them has their own sub-stories and then subplots,
Correct.
and they all come together for, it almost seems like the Avengers.
No, that's so people who read these things, right?
Yeah.
Of course, my knowledge is very minimal on these things, and my knowledge is limited to the content available on the internet. मैंने कभी library में गया जाके I never drawn a book which is written in Sanskrit. I have depended on people who have translated the particular version in Sanskrit. This is generation lost for sure.
Correct.
But the way I understand the concept is what I'm trying to share out here with everybody out there, right? So हमने क्या किया था after Kripacharya ji we shared about Parashurama, whose evidence of presence of a Chiranjeevi, right? Chiranjeevi is someone who lives on,
Yeah.
doesn't die per se. No record is there of Parashurama dying, though he was supposed to be a. He's supposed to be a
Chiranjeevi.
Chiranjeevi. Okay, avatar of Vishnu.
Vishnu himself.
Yeah. And again, so the concept is the Godhead coming in the form of something and then retaining is there, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about Markandeya, right?
Yeah.
He was a person who witnessed many things.
Yeah.
Destruction of universes is what he has seen.
Yeah.
So very crucial in terms of time of reconstruction of the thing, right?
Right.
We talked about our favorite, Hanumanji.
Uh-huh.
Right? Hanumanji, the last time baat kiya tha humne.
Right.
And then afterwards we saw a movie coming up about Hanumanji also.
Right.
And we alluded to him many times in our Chiranjeevi point of view. And why Hanumanji is supposedly still on in this realm, right?
Right.
And timing wise, also we talked about the Ram Mandir coming up right now. All the thing culminated in that thing.
Yeah.
And and that he's going to be on as long as the word of Ram is
Yeah.
there in this world.
Yeah.
Then that was the condition he had put in when according to the books also, according to scriptures, what articles I've read as well, right? So now today we're going to focus on somebody who people would not have thought of as a Chiranjeevi. You know who this is, Faltoni?
This
It
is
belonged to a nemesis of
Lord
Rama.
Rama. Yeah.
Belonged to the family of nemesis of Lord Rama. Yeah, some of you are nodding your head probably and saying, "Oh, I know this." Faltoni, do you know who it is?
Of course, if you watch the movie Hanuman, you already would know. But that is the beauty. For us, we felt to a great extent, we brought that conversation up about that Chiranjeevi also. And now, they have talked about him.
Yeah.
So this is none other than he supposedly still rules Lanka, about 200 kilometers off of the actual coast of where Lanka is. He supposedly still rules Lanka, Bandajan, and he still walks the earth. That's what they say.
Yes, and this is the friend who is as dear to Lord Rama as his brother Bharata.
Yeah.
As dear to Lord Rama as his best friend Hanuman.
Yeah.
And equally devotee of Rama as that of Hanuman. Right? So he was blessed. Okay, he's from supposedly Lanka, right? He was the brother of Ravana, and everybody will frown upon him because they say that Ravana's downfall was partly because Vibhishana left him.
Acha. Really?
Huh.
Yeah, because they say that Vibhishana, but they call him a traitor, right? From that aspect
so
of
my
it.
point exactly. My point is that they think of him as a traitor, right? But if you look at the stories of Vibhishana, there are certain things that stand out with him. What was the war which Rama fought?
What do you mean?
What was the war? It was not about winning his wife. It was a war on dharma.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
So Vibhishana is though he knew, okay, Vibhishana was loved his brothers for sure, because he was one of the penance. He went on the penance with all his brothers, right? When the Ghor tapasya they did, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm talking about Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana. All of them were involved in that thing, right? All the tapasya is they did, right? And they got all the benefits of all the blessings of the gods and everything, right? And he was a very good warrior, right? But he stood very strongly with dharma.
Yeah.
Now in the Dwapar Yuga,
So much so that he put dharma above family.
Huh. Yes, that he chose to fight with Rama against his own brother
Yeah.
Ravana, who was propagating adharma.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And supposedly the story says that he was a person of great wisdom and was actually a very just leader. So that's why when Rama went back, he gave Lanka back to him to rule. And he gave him blessing that he's going to rule there forever. As long as he wanted. Chiranjeevi, as long as he wants to live. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So this is, of course, and the reason that, like Altu Baba said, he was granted immortality or was blessed with immortality is because he stood for everything right in the world. He stood for humility. He stood for, they say even today when it comes to ultimate surrender or ultimate devotion, they generally say कि life में अगर आप किसी को गुरु मानते हो, it's really important because to a great extent, even for that matter, the Trinity as we call it, that is our Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, each one is an ardent devotee of the other. So nobody thinks that they are everything.
Yeah.
And only when they all come together.
But actually speaking, if you're talking about that, right, there are multiple stories I've read wherein it is not a question of, there are times when they are thinking they're everything and they're subdued.
Correct. Yeah.
And there are times when they forget what they are and then they're reminded.
Yeah, that is Maya.
Yeah.
That is Maya, and when they themselves are, when the so-called realized beings or those forces themselves are not beyond the clutches of Maya, then what are we, mere tuchha manush?
Someday on Mystical Mondays we'll bring in those stories also, because there's a very interesting story where they talk about how Vishnu fights with Shiva. Shiva fights with Vishnu. It's very interesting. I know people think like a fantastic, oh my god, what is this? They take a different form of the same person, blah, blah, blah. That kind of tells you that how advanced the particular community culture was. Now we are blinded with all these things. And there was a time when they used to understand this concept very beautifully, right? Because Shiva, Vishnu, the god, one of the godheads, what do we call, 3 godheads, right? When he comes in the form of a different particular thing on his avatara, Shiva comes in different avatara to serve him and be. So in other words, if the dynamics of Rama and Hanuman, right, are something which is pretty much Rama and Hanuman are the dynamics of Vishnu and Shiva, right?
Okay.
And then there also is a point of who's the guru of Hanuman?
Who's the guru of Hanuman? Rama?
No, guru of Hanuman is Brahma.
What?
Yeah, Brahma is the guru of Hanuman, and Hanuman dates before that. So Rama, the name Rama itself, right?
Oh.
The name Rama, here's the concept, right? Name Rama was not something that came out of the black. There was Rama before as well.
Okay.
So when you name a child, right, you don't name a child based on the fact, I just come up with a concocted name. No.
Yeah.
In those days, never the case, right? So Dhritarashtra would have definitely named Rama on some concept of Rama.
Okay.
So Rama has been there before Rama is being born also. But this Maryada Purusha was born, and he brought in the virtues of how a human being has the virtues of a human being is what I could say, because it's not about virtues are not something which is like ideals. No, he was supposed to be living the life of a true human, suffering all the angst and agony. Right, and that's what the whole story was. And the whole pathway, if you look at it in a very philosophical way, is that all through his guidance, all through his life, Rama was guided by who? Shiva. Yeah.
Wow.
That's deep, right?
Oh wow. Okay.
Actually, it's not. I wouldn't say it's like it's interconnected, right? So it tells you more about the fact that we are living an interconnected life.
Correct. So, Bandhujan, we are today, of course, we went into we went all over the place.
No, but we had
tell
to,
you-
right, to understand and talk about Vibhishana, right?
Correct.
Right. Today we're talking about Vibhishana. He was a demon prince,
Demon prince.
demon
yeah.
priest,
Yeah.
prince. And
How
of course,
was? But he was actually from. He was a descendant of Vishrava, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he? Vishrava was the son of Pulastya,
Uh-huh.
who was one of the Saptarshis.
Yeah.
So the 7 great sages who had the knowledge, the Brahma Jnana that they say, right? Who had the
given to
knowledge
them by whom?
by Brahma himself.
No, by Shiva.
Really?
Yeah. I think you give the person who gave them the knowledge of it.
So all of that, Pulastya was one of the sages of the 7 Saptarishi, the 7 rishis, and Pulastya's son was Vishrava, is it? Or
Plus,
grandson?
Grandson of Vishrava, and then and the 3 of them were offsprings of that particular sage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of that sage who got married. I mean, okay, by the way, who is the stepbrother of Ravana also, and Vibhishana and Kumbhakarna and Shurpanaka?
Who?
Kubera. The original ruler of Lanka was Kubera.
Yeah, and that's
Who
why it's
was-
called the city of gold.
Ah.
That's why it's called city of gold.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So, okay, whoever made the movie Adi Purush, you guys really have to go back and like scrap your movie and actually apologize for it and redo it all over again.
Oh my God.
Because you have to get your facts right, guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So he was the young. Was he the youngest son? Yeah, he was.
Youngest of
he
the
was
all
the
three.
youngest of the siblings. No, Shurpanaka was younger than them. Is it?
Shurpanaka
They had
was.
3 sons and a daughter.
So I think Shurpanaka was the youngest of them all.
Possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I've not done much research on Shurpanaka lately, so.
Yeah, we're only talking about Chiranjeevi's mention, not Nakatani Wali.
How mean.
So, well, hey, what do you mean how mean? That's
Okay, continue. I'm liking what he's saying so far. Go on.
so anyway, I just wanted to say that so Vibhishana also has an ancestral, I mean, his heritage, his lineage is that of one of the Mahasaptarishis, right? So he has that also in them. So somewhere the genetics flowed. In fact, even Ravana himself was called Mahabrahmana, right? Which
course.
was a very knowledgeable and a learned soul.
Hey,
apparently.
come on. He was a person who came with the concept of supposedly invented Rudravina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so what we wanted to tell you today, Banajan, is that Vibhishana, for that matter, was somebody who was born in that in that era of when what is it? Was it when was Rama? Rama was
Satyuga.
yeah. So he was born in that era, and Vibhishana's immortality has been referenced to by the different works that have happened after that. Like, you know, when we say works, with how history is documented is, and the reason people don't let people say that it's mythology. It's not mythology.
No,
it's
it's
not a
not.
myth. It is actual history. For those of you who may not be familiar, please go ahead and research and find out. There's a lot of research that's been done. Okay, about this, and in terms of Vibhishana, he is also referenced to in the Mahabharata, which is a Dwapara Yuga. I think it's in the Dwapara Yuga, which was the Mahabharata Banjan. There is a reference to Vibhishana over there as well. And where does that reference come in? We will talk a little bit about that as well today.
Sure.
And there is also reference when Vibhishana was returning, you know, like amongst there is a particular there's a regional legend, especially in the Iyengar community, that is followers of Ramanujacharya, right? There is something called Divya Deshams, which means the abodes of Lord Vishnu, the people who are Vaishnavites, right? So one of the Divya Deshams, the most sacrosanct of all Divya Deshams, is Sri Rangam. Okay, so Sri Rangam is a place which is the Ranganatha Swami temple of Srirangam. If you haven't been, you should. I mean, I wouldn't say, I don't want to shoot on you, but it is one of the most beautiful architectural marvels. At the same time, it's something that is talked about endlessly in several different Vaishnavite scripts. So you actually, how this came about is there is a reference to how the Ranganatha Swami temple actually took, they're called Swayambhu, right? So it's basically, it automatically, where the Lord decided to cast his, or where the spiritual energy decided to reside, is what it said. So what happened apparently after Lord Rama's coronation, Lord Rama, who was the avatar of Vishnu, right? So he gave Vibhishana, Vibhishana was there at the coronation of Lord Rama, and then what he did was he gave Vibhishana something called the Sriranga Vimana, which is basically, I think, it was what was the Sriranga Vimana? It was like it was like a, what do you call, I
a flying machine.
Okay. I think it's called a flying machine. So, and what happened was the Sriranga Vimana was something that Vibhishana was taking home as he was leaving when he was headed back to Lanka. And when he was headed back there, the kingdom of Lanka, midway, he decided that he wanted to rest. So as he wanted to rest, he placed the image or the Sriranga Vimana on the banks of the river Kaveri. Okay. While he placed it there, he tried to lift it back up again and he couldn't lift it. So when he couldn't lift it, it seems he prayed. He said, what is going on? I was able to bring it with me all this way and now I'm not able to do it. Why am I not able to take it back with me to Lanka? At that time, Lord Vishnu supposedly appeared and said that he desired to stay in that area as Ranganatha. And that place then became known as Srirangam. And they say that Vishnu also desired apparently to watch the Brahmotsavam from Tirucheri, which is why the festivals of this temple that happened there are considered very sacred. So that's how this became a Divya Desham. That's when Vishnu decided that this is where I want to stay on earth, on this particular realm. This is where I want to be. And he said, so that's why if you see Lord Ranganatha, it's like a resting position that you see. And that's where the this particular one could say legend, a fable, whatever, but it has been referenced to in several regional texts and scriptures. And ऐसे ही अगर आप सोचते जाओगे, there's a lot of if you go, even this is India we're talking about, if you go down, because Sri Lanka, right, that Lanka and today's modern day Lanka are kind of different. Obviously geographically there's been so much that's happened over the several yugas. There's plate tectonics that has happened, there's so much that is separated out, and different islands have emerged from it. In Sri Lanka there is also there are Sinhalese people who actually consider Vibhishana as one of the Satara Varam Deviyo, which basically means the 4 guardian deities. I hope I'm saying it right. It's called Satara Varam Deviyo. The Sinhalese people believe that, and they actually worship him as one of the gods. This belief was more prominent in the Kotte period apparently, and according to the Ravana Katha of Vikramasinghe Adigar, after the defeat of Ravana, Vibhishana transferred the Yaksha capital from Alaka Mandava to Kelaniya. And what is this? How does this have significance? This is telling you in current day, it is still being talked about, and it is written in the scriptures. In Kali Yuga it has been referenced in the 15th century poem of Totagamuve Sri Rahuta Thera. Selathini Sandesarya is supposedly is ordered to carry the missive to Vibhishana at his temple in Kelaniya. And after the 16th century, he was replaced as a god of the four warrants by the goddess Pattini. And he continues to be worshipped by a group of adherents who are mainly in that Kelaniya area. He continues to be worshipped as one of the guardian angels. So there is a legend, there is a fable about Vibhishana amongst the Sinhalese people as well, which is different from Rama. It is a furtherance of the story of Valmiki Srimad Ramayanam, that was written by Valmiki, continues with Sundarakaand. I mean, it goes into Rama and Sita and then their eventual separation and then all that stuff that happens, right? But there is no Lava Kusha and all that is mentioned later. Nobody, the Sinhalese people carried their own documentation of what was happening there. So amongst the Sinhalese people also, it has been as recently, in the 15th century, there was a something that was written with regard to why Vibhishana became the
correct. Yes. So otherwise, there is this particular evidence that he is supposed to be still living. And if you look at popular folklore, which is nowadays movies, there's a movie called Hanuman in theatre. We're not marketing the theatre, that movie anyway, but in there they talk about the reference of him and being in contact with Hanuman. And Hanuman and Vibhishana are also very good friends because they had a common person they used to admire and adore, and that was Rama. Right? That brings them together in the whole thing.
Right.
Now again, we always have talked about this Chiranjeevi stories is this way, and we have seen the evidence of their presence. We talked about evidence of how Hanumanji's presence everywhere, right? Maybe a footprint on the stone, which probably could be carved by somebody, yes, understandable. Or could be somebody who's just saying that, we have a photograph which is photoshopped in those days. Nowadays you can't believe anything because AI can generate anything over there, right? But then again, when something is generated means kahin pe to aag hai, right? Chingai to bhadki ke na kahin pe, right? That's what it is, right? There's a smoke because there's some fire somewhere. Is what we believe in. And yes, but I definitely think in terms of the existence of him as being an immortal, there are some things which really has to remain forever in this continuation of our humanity, I should say. And that's why I think the story of Vibhishana is very important. Now, let's take a pause. Let's see. Let's talk to all our bandhus who actually joined us on Facebook. Deepa ji, namaste. Kaise hain aap? We have Mamata ji also all the way from India saying hello to us. We also have Aditi ji saying Vibhishana, na, something. Vibhishana, na, somebody asked a question. Okay, I think I'm reading old thing. And I have Vibhaji also joining us right now on Facebook. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can give us a call here for sure. If you want to comment also, you can do that.
So even in, you remember, one of the significance of the Chiranjeevis is that they are there in every yuga.
Yeah.
Literally. So in Dwapara Yuga, we talked about how we would tell you where he comes in Mahabharata, where he is referenced, right? There is a passing reference of Vibhishana where during the Rajasuya Yajna of Yudhishthira, right? When the remaining four brothers conducted campaigns in the four different directions for their oldest brother, Sahadeva, Nakula Sahadeva, right? So Sahadeva went southwards. So he wanted to win the friendship of the Rakshasa king or the demon king, which is Vibhishana, which is obviously because Mahabharata is considered to have happened in the different yuga. So Vibhishana is referenced over there, and apparently at that time, when he wanted to get the friendship going, he sent Ghatotkacha. Who was, because Ghatotkacha, he thought how Rakshas
racist people.
Yeah. Seriously, he sent Ghatotkacha as his ambassador or envoy, and apparently Vibhishana honored Ghatotkacha and treated him very well, and he sent him back with a lot of gold and a lot of gifts.
Let's also tell you one thing. Okay, the we call them Rakshasa Gana, right? But actually, it's not that they were demon per se,
correct.
Right? It is a group of individuals. Like for instance, Vanaras were the people or individuals,
the forest dwellers,
who are forest dwellers, right?
Yeah.
And there is evidence of them actually getting wiped out eventually also.
Right.
There is a continuation story of what happened after Ramayana, wherein Sugriva said all the Vanaras across the entire world should come and live in one place, that is their place, right? And similarly, when we talked about Lanka, Ravana, Ravana was ruler of everybody there. Like, it was like they didn't have passport per se, but he had his presence everywhere. Everybody from the Rakshasa Gana would have automatically,
Right.
known of Ravana, whatever it is. This is very evident because we know that when Shurpanaka talks about Ravana, she tells him, what are you doing in your kingdom? You people of your kingdom are getting beaten up by these kind of tuchi people, like two kids, Lakshmana and Rama and other places, right?
Right.
That's the way she starts a conversation in one of those things when she refers, she addresses his ability to rule, right? So coming back to the thing, yes, so I think Ghatotkacha also has a connection to it, and there's also, by the way, Ghatotkacha himself was not 100%, he also is mixed race.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
He's mixed race himself, right?
Yeah.
But sending him would have been a best way, because in terms of, when you talk about Kautilya Shastra also, right? When you say envoys, it's better to send somebody who understands the cultural nuances of the particular land.
Oh, God.
So it makes sense if you look at it. Why this guy sent Nakula Sahadeva sent his nephew.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So that is another reference to Vibhishana Bhanujan, and there are remember when we talked about Hanuman, we talked about a tribe in Sri Lanka where Hanuman supposedly visits. That tribe is also a follower of. They claim that tribe was originally formed by Vibhishanas, by the people who were the descendants from that time, from the the times of that particular when Vibhishana took over Sri Lanka, because he was crowned the king there, right? Yeah. So in fact, there's a lot of lessons to be learned, I think, from the whole Ramayana. People, Rama could have very well usurped and said, okay, this is my throne, right? But he decided to place one of their own as their king, and only because of his righteousness and the fact that he was a very just ruler, Vibhishana. And hence, Rama said that you would be the perfect person to make sure that there is dharma. And whenever there is is hindrance to dharma, and remember, even in the Bhagavad Gita, you have yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya. Now, if there is something, the earth is merely a speck, right? In the entire universe, right? It's merely a speck. There have to be guardians everywhere. Now I'm going into Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh my God.
There have to be guardians.
Yeah.
So somebody has to alert them. You're the first line of defense.
Yeah.
So that is the reason Vibhishana, Hanuman, all these people, Chiranjeevis, like Altu Baba said, were placed in different yugas, that they were given the boon of immortality.
Very true. And of course, this again, fantastic story, sometimes good. We'll talk about the next immortal the next week for sure. Who is again, belongs to the demon Raj, or what do you call the Rakshasa Gana. Right? We'll talk about that for sure. Again, down south, you wonder why they called them. There was no bad thing to somebody being a Rakshasa Gana.
Correct.
Right, there's nothing bad about it. Like how we have a connotation, Rakshasa, demon, teeth going that way, this way, dark now. No, not that way at all. It is just that they belong to a particular group, right? Probably it has changed right now. We will talk about that. And again, stories keep changing, keep morphing. I only get my story from people who already got only half % of story what they have, right?
Right.
But then again, it's very fantastic. If you try to go into the converging evidence of all the stories put together, it talks about morals. It talks about virtue more than morals, and what it means to be a good human being, right? And Vibhishana actually stood out for somebody who was courageous. You might say, what is courageous? He went and gave up, dropped his arms in front of Rama. No, he was courageous enough to stand for what he believed was right. How many of us do it?
Yeah.
Right? How many of us do it?
And it's a hard choice to make sometimes, Bijan, when you have to be able to, it's easy to go with the flow.
Yeah.
As opposed to, if you truly stand for something that you believe in, how do you make that choice?
Yeah.
Even if it means going against your family.
Correct. And in Ramayana itself, right, there's one more person who's not been talked much about. You know who it is?
Who?
Bharata.
Yeah.
the kind of sacrifice Bharata did.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say sacrifice. I would say, I think it was tremendous to understand the kind of level of love and devotion they had to follow dharma at that time. It seems like they knew what dharma. We don't know what dharma is right now.
Huh.
We only know what swadharma is. We don't know what is dharma. I think that's a big question you should talk about sometime later on. But the point is, these people seem to know it, right?
Yeah.
Because they seem to know it, they were able to be resolute about their dharma, right? Especially in terms of Vibhishana. And probably that's what is the thing, right? Kali Yuga is where you've become totally adharmic.
Yeah.
You don't understand what dharma is. You just do things which are not in line with dharma.
Right.
In Kali Yuga, right?
Right.
That's what's happening, I suppose. But don't worry, we still have around 2000 years to finish with Kali Yuga.
Yeah. Shukracharya is not an immortal, Deepa. It was Kripacharya, who was the maternal uncle of Ashwathama. So Kripacharya is Dronacharya's brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And he was Kripacharya taught all of them how to everything, all the scriptures, all the Vedas. He was, and his dharma was to fight. He fought on the side of the Kauravas. His dharma was to fight, and even though he was involved in the merciless killings of the descendants of the Pandavas, right? He was not cursed, because for those of you who are not familiar, there's something called Nishkama Karma, right? Which he did it with detachment. He did, it wasn't because, my brother-in-law was killed, or this happened, that is the reason. Out of the krodha, the kama, he didn't do it out of emotion. Whatever he did is he supported, but he didn't, he supported his nephew, Ashwathama, who actually supposedly attacked in the night. So that's what they say.
He supported him, but he did not do the attacking.
Yeah.
The killing attacking was done by his nephew for sure. But the point is, it's like how Father, he said rightly, when you follow dharma, some of them knew what dharma was. We don't know.
Yeah.
We have 10,000 filters in our mind. This is not, will I make money? Not, oh my God, this is going to be helping. We do all those things. Right? We have all this klesha in our minds.
Right.
But anyway, we'll come back to it anyways. But right now, coming to a close of our show right now, Father, we have to just tell our bandhus. I hope you enjoy the show as much as we enjoy presenting to you guys, right?
Yeah.
Of course, we enjoy talking about this, reading about this. Ye hamara point of interest hai. So obviously, you might say, that's why he talks a lot. I try not to talk a lot, but again, this is very interesting for me as research, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to research this and present it to you. Right, Valdani, what do you think?
Yeah, exactly. And Deepa, you're right. They both fought in a war that they were not supposed to be fighting. Well, they had to do their duties. They were preceptors, and they chose, but they fought. They say, right, you go down for the side that you fight for.
Yeah, but Kripacharya stayed on afterwards also, is supposed to have lived on afterwards also, and training the other families of Yadava and also thing. And again, if you read further, you can go more deeper into it, because Mahabharata doesn't stop at the war. Mahabharata continues further.
Yeah.
They actually talk about dissolution of the Yadavas, what happened, and every karma having an equal reaction.
Yeah.
It also clearly mentioned there.
Correct.
And the fact that Balarama, who's supposed brother of Krishna, was also supposed to be avatara of Adishesha. And happens to be the last avatara mentioned of Adishesha. Every time Vishnu comes, Adishesha comes along with him.
Yeah.
That was the last time he said, I'm done, boss, I'm not coming back. And that's the reason, because in that particular birth, Balarama ceased the decimation of his whole loved ones, entire thing, and that's why. And actually, that's what they say. They say they went on and rampage and killing everybody else.
Right.
So that's what happened. Now, all the different story totally. But today, I hope you enjoyed Vibhishana's section. And we will start to see if going forward we actually have these small packets of information available for future also.
Right.
For people to go back and view it.
Well, here's the thing, Manjan. I think at the end of the day, the reason you might wonder, why do we talk about it? Now, a lot of it is perpetuated through verbal tradition, through oral tradition rather, and through written tradition. And if we do not, like a lot of us who are living here right now, are raising children in this culture and this climate, right? And many a times for us to say, chant Ramcharitmanas, or do Hanuman Chalisa, for them to understand the significance and why. I mean, imagine when they can they lap it up when Marvel dishes out these kind of stories and they talk about this. Imagine if the amount of pride that they would feel in their own heritage if they came to know that this happened eons ago. In our own, we have it in our own scriptures, and if we are able to share this with them, and if you're able to tell them, yeah, go research, why not? You never know, some of our kids might be people who might get into researching the Vedas or the scriptures or the Mahabharata or the Ramayana. There could be, so many different things, right? So that's the reason Media Mahima keeps the South Asian voice alive. Our goal is to pique enough of a curiosity and interest in people watching our shows so that they're able to talk about it. Even if you talk to two other people,
Go research. Go research. If you get a chance to go read up on
it.
Instead of watching Netflix series, go read up on these things.
Yeah, I know. And watching garbage that's out there, which get awards in ceremonies and stuff like that. Watch these kind of shows or go research and participate in these kind of shows, right? So इसी के साथ हम बोलेंगे कि हमारा वक्त हो चला है. We'll be back tomorrow with IoT Tuesdays. We will talk about something that is in and out of theatres tomorrow, and then we will give you a rundown on that. हमें इजाज़त दीजिए. Good night.
शब्बा खैर.
And a प्यार भरा.
You are listening to Radio D Hotties, powered by Mahima Creations.
Hey guys, this is Deepika Padukone and you're listening to me on Radio De Hotties with Altu Baba and Faltu Rani, where entertainment just got hotter.